But first, we have a visit from our daytime legal team this morning. The death of a loved one is a difficult and painful time for people, and besides the emotional loss, families often deal with then the will and the estate and everything in between. So it is important to take steps now and plan ahead for the sake of your family. Joining me this morning with information on all of this is Tommy Taneff, attorney at law. Tommy, nice to have you here.
Good morning, Gail. Thank you for having me.
And you know, this is something that is very difficult for families to talk about, but you as an attorney know, and you've dealt with it when families don't talk about it, it can really cause even rifts between families.
It's amazing that when people fail to plan and fail to share information, how much disruption and how much heartache it can cause on a family.
So why is it important then for families to be prepared, obviously, to save themselves from infighting as a family, but what other reasons?
With proper planning, you can make sure, first of all, that all of your belongings, all things are distributed according to your wishes. It's also a way to help reduce administrative costs by having good planning.
I think that people are surprised that if they don't do this, that the government's going to do it for them. And they don't realize that. They think they have control over this because it is their property. And that's not the case unless you actually set some guidelines up.
Correct. And if you don't have a will, for example, the state of Ohio will write a will for you. They'll decide who's in control, who's in charge, who gets what, who gets to do when.
And they take that all out of your hands. So what is a will? What is contained in a will?
Okay, well, first of all, with a proper will, you can direct the distribution of your assets according to your wishes. You can also pick an executor. But one of the main things that you might want to have a will for is who gets control of your children, or who gets control of the money, or at what age the children get a hold of their money. Without any specific provisions in the will, most kids are going to get a hold of the money at the age of 18. And we both know what a kid with money at 18 is going to buy, a car.
Not a lot of smart purchases necessarily at that age. And that's where I think that people don't understand where if they don't say, if it's not legal in a document, that decision is taken out of their hands.
Correct.
Okay, so what about people that can do, they say, I'm going to go online and do a will.
It's usually the people that do the self-drawn wills are the people that can afford to have a will done. And I routinely,
how funny is that?
Routinely see these self-drawn wills where there are mistakes made, the I's aren't dotted, the T's aren't crossed. And now, instead of having a will that is legal and legible with the mistakes, we now have to go to probate court and we have to ask the court to construe the will.
So it's to undo everything.
And instead of avoiding one lawyer, most of these people now are having to hire one lawyer. Another person in the family is hiring a lawyer. Another person's hiring a lawyer. So instead of avoiding one lawyer, you have 2 or 3 lawyers involved.
Should everyone have a will? Even single folks who aren't married have no dependents?
Yes. And the reason why, as I mentioned, I think a moment ago, is you may not have an estate now, but remember that a will is a document that takes into consideration the future, too. So as you accumulate wealth, you want to be able to pass on things according to your wishes.
But you should update then, right? If you do marry and you do start to have children.
If you've married, if you've remarried, if you've retired, inherited, those are good times to think about updating your will.
What is an executor? I don't understand really what that person does.
An executor is a person that's held to a very high standard. They're in charge of the will. They're in charge of administering the estate. And they're someone that you trust, someone that has good business sense.
So that when you pass on, they sort of take charge of it for you?
Exactly. And their job is to basically wrap up your entire life, all your affairs. They've got to have good business sense, they've got to have good business judgment, and they've got to be fair and impartial.
Does it have to be a family member?
It does not. It does not have to be a family member, but typically I recommend that you choose someone as executor that's got good business sense, that you trust, and if it happens to be a family member, someone that can be fair.
So I think if someone is watching this, the one thing they should take away is that no matter who you are, what age you are, you need to think about a will and an executor because things happen.
Most definitely.
Tommy, thank you. It's nice to have you here. And I know you're going to be joining us in weeks to come.
Thank you, Gail. Thanks for having me.